Y'all, I can't tell if this movie is making fun of us itself or the genre as a whole. Hello, everyone. I'm author R.L. Raintree. This is Reels and Reads, where I give honest reviews and occasional spoilers. Normal is a film starring Bob Odenkirk and Henry Winkler, and it takes place in a town in Minnesota, don't you know, called Normal. And nothing about this film is normal, ironically or perhaps unironically. It's giving a little bit of Fargo and a little bit of Nobody, which happens to also star Bob Odenkirk. This film is only 120 minutes, and I mean 120 minutes precisely. Actually, I think I said that wrong. An hour and 20 minutes. I've had a long day. You're going to have to forgive me. Like, even my camera is shaking. Anyhow, it is precisely 1 hour and 20 minutes. It is destined to be a straight to Netflix film because if this is in the movie theater, somebody behind the scenes wasted their time and money. I'm not trying to tell you that this movie is terrible. I'm telling you that this movie is perfect for streaming on Netflix, Prime Video, etc., etc. And again, I don't know if this movie is making fun of itself or making fun of the genre. So it begins in Japan, Osaka, Japan, and there's something going wrong with the Yakuza because a couple of people are chopping off their pinky finger, which is usually done because somebody screwed up. Now, it's never truly made clear what the screw up is. We just know that for some reason there's a disconnect between that, maybe 1 to 5 minute scene, and then all of a sudden Bob Odenkirk is in a snowy town in Minnesota. Like it just switches over, no explanation, leaves you wondering why we're seeing the Yakuza or Yakuza, whichever way is the right way to pronounce it. And what does that have to do with Bob Odenkirk? Anyhow, he plays a sheriff who's an interim sheriff, so not even somebody who matters, but it's okay because he doesn't care. He is completely apathetic. And Henry Winkler plays the mayor, who I have to tell you, with everybody being all smiles and happy and excited about a parade and excited about their funds, and mind you, they raise an unusually high amount of funds for such a small town that it has less than 2,000 people, but I digress. Everyone is just happy go lucky, Fargo type people, and then you meet the mayor, Henry Winkler, and it's like, yeah, he's happy go lucky, but something's off. And that's about as normal as it gets. Now, for the first 30 minutes, we have amazing character development. Their backstories are really deep and interesting. And I start thinking to myself, I don't know what that Yakuza scene was all about, but this is starting to get good. Like, I'm really enjoying these people's stories, the character development. I mean, it's great. And then 30 minutes into the film, so, a third of the way through the film, that's when the action pops off. And that's when I realized this movie is not serious. It can't possibly be serious and this cheesy. And I have to say, I'm convinced that it is purposely cheesy. We've got a bunch of weird one-liners. We've got a noisy leather jacket. We've got bank robbers who don't know what they're doing. We got people getting their ear shot off, like literally an ear was shot off. We have a moose that steals paint. I mean, there's so much. Just the shenanigans are not shenanigans properly, is all I can say, but the action is actually quite fun. I mean, there's a whole lot going on. I mean, when it comes to action films, nothing's really normal. Like, the guns, the bullets in the gun are way too many for that type of gun type of a deal. But that's okay. That's the genre. And then, of course, we have Henry Winkler being a little suspicious. You don't know if Odenkirk is a little bit suspicious. Like, something's off. Something's definitely off. And we find out about halfway through the film precisely what the issue is. And then, of course, we have the ending, which I have to say I felt like it dragged, which is wild because, again, this is only an hour and 20 minutes long, so it's not that long of a film. But because the plot was so thin, because this movie was so unserious, because this movie was clearly just, something for people who like blowing things up would watch, there wasn't much more to give us. Now they tried to give us a final act, a third act, which, I get it, it was cool, but it was just so incredibly cheesy, especially when we're talking about the Yakuza, like, for real. But again, at the same time, it felt intentional. It felt incredibly intentional, like we were never supposed to take this movie seriously. Is this movie worth watching? Not really. It's not something I'm going to think about. It's not something I'm going to remember. It wasn't a bad movie. Again, it just comes off as a to be film, but with Netflix quality. And because it's only, an hour and 20 minutes long, it's one of those films that you can put on while you're cooking dinner. I mean, no disrespect when I say that. I was actually cooking dinner when this was on. This is one of those you don't need to look at the screen movies. This is one of those if you just need the TV on while you sleep, you could turn this movie on. If you need to cook, you need to do your homework, you just need background noise, this is that film. Like it's not even going to leave a blip on the radar when it comes to films that we saw this year. That's unfortunate because I know people work really hard on films, but again, I also feel like all of everything that I just said was actually intentional. They wanted it to be this type of film. And if they didn't, oh, I I don't really know what to say to that. So I'm giving this film 2 stars. It was enjoyable, yes, not worth spending your money on, not worth remembering, and incredibly corny and cheesy, and I'm just not 100% sure whether or not they meant to do that. Are you a fan of Bob Odenkirk? Like, what was your favorite performance of his? I know that he was in Nobody and there's a Nobody too, but then of course we know all about, Better Call Saul and so on and so forth. So, are you a fan of Bob Odenkirk and what's your favorite project that he's done? Anyways, that's the review. Thanks for watching.